Welcome to the Wings Mobile Detailing Business and Automotive Podcast, the only podcast that will guide you on how to start and grow six-figure companies. As our team expand from one business location to worldwide domination, you will get step-by-step insights from a millennial franchisor and franchise owner with your host, Andre Mezalira.
Hello guys, we're back with the Wings Mobile Detailing Business and Automotive Podcast, and today we're on the topic of business about decided to call and cover up this coronavirus, just give out my thoughts, what people should do, because we all hear it's going to be a fairly optimistic podcast today. Looking at the bright side of crisis, what this crisis brings. A lot of people are going to see crisis as a negative. Everything's negative. Oh, things are going to get worse, which can, and indeed it might get worse. But if all you can look at is the negativity, the doubts, the panic, are we going to be all right? Like, obviously, we're going to be all right. It's obvious the stock market's going to come back up. It's obvious that we're going to be more prepared once this is over. It's obvious that the economy is going to grow faster and better. The economy overall is going to grow faster and better, as if we were not going, if we didn't have this crisis before. Yes, we're going to surface in the short term, but it's obvious that after this, the stock market's going to launch back up because it went down. It went down because of this coronavirus. Right now it's March 17, and look at all this, the preparedness that we're going to have from now on for next year when it comes by and everything's fine. We're rolling the economy again. As we have examples of wars, wars, when wars happens and comes great, recession in the economy. After the recession's all gone, the economy tends to grow exponential. So look at this side, look at this bright side, and be like, when a crisis comes, that's why the rich people, they get more optimistic, because they know the crisis, when everybody's contracting, when everybody's in fear, when everybody's chilling, watching Netflix at their house, because right now they have time and now all I can do is watch Netflix. If you're one of these people, you're the ones that are gonna get hit the most. Not now, everybody's getting hit now, but you're gonna continue to get hit afterwards. It's not taking advantage. When I say taking advantage of this crisis, I'm not saying go buy toilet paper and sell for twice the price. No, I'm saying invest in yourself, and as you do so, you're gonna help others later on, and you're gonna be on top. Not stepping on one another. When I say take advantage, I say take advantage of the fact that we're going through a hard time. Oh, but there's no work. There's nothing to do now. Read. And if you were not average before this crisis came, it means that you're prepared right now and you know what to do. That's the problem now. I'm recording this podcast and I'm saying, oh, now, take advantage of this crisis. But if you have been average this entire time and not prepared, and if you've been not just doing average work like everybody does Monday to Friday, and I say, oh, take advantage now, you might not have the ammunition to do it now, everybody went down, even their finances, everybody's finances is going down. Businesses are going to lower even more, but you could have done two things: have prepared before, or not prepared. If you have not prepared before, the average tend to blame other people for this crisis. That's how the average people are gonna come out strong, and you're gonna be able to differentiate the average in a crisis like this. In any crisis, you're gonna be able to differentiate the average from the greats, because they're gonna come out and start blaming others. They're gonna come out and start, oh, this is getting bad. Only negativity comes out of them. It's gonna get worse, and the government is doing this wrong, the people are doing this wrong and that wrong, because they haven't prepared before. They've been average even before the crisis, and now that it's time for them to give their all, they don't have any more ammunition to use. I'm not just talking financial wise, I'm talking about mentality. I'm talking about the mentality of losing, mentality of, oh, now I have time, I'm gonna whine about it, I'm gonna be fear, I'm gonna be a little, don't want to use the word now, but and there are different things that you can do, which I'm gonna go over in this podcast to get more practical besides just motivational. But motivation is a lot. It has a huge part in moments like this. and thinking on a positive side, not just, oh, it's gonna be all right. That's not the positivity. Positivity is taking advantage, again, in a good way, of crises like this, investing. And a lot of people who's the greats who's taking advantage of this can say, oh, it's better to invest in home, it's better to invest in this, it's stock market's gonna go down. But let me give you facts. Regardless of what you invest in, if you have extra money aside, obviously you need money to live, but here this is a great podcast, for people who are the greats. We're not focusing on, oh, let me just have enough money to live. That's the minimum. That's the average. But if you have stock money or stock energy, even if you don't have money, if you haven't had time before the crisis, which I also didn't have enough time, to stock much, to save much money before the crisis. That's what I was worried about. I was like, oh, I want to be ready for when the crisis comes. That's why I didn't want the crisis to come too early. But the greats, they're not going to be focusing. The greats are going to come out, and the average are also going to come out. The average are those people who's also, as I said, is complaining, seeing all in the negative way. Oh, it's going to be bad. Oh, I'm going to retreat. That's going to be their talk. I'm going to retreat. And I'm desperate. I'm going to go after buying stuff nonstop. The greats are not doing that. The average is doing that. And you can differentiate both, especially at a time like this. The greats are not going to retreat. The greats are going to be optimistic because they wait for times like this. They wait when everybody is, they can see that everybody is actually not working, and they are not taking advantage of this time, not of people. They're not taking advantage of the timing, the crisis, and investing back. And the average are going to expect things from others. They're gonna show themselves. So what do? Let's go back to the stock market now. For example, as I said, there's a lot of different investments. You can be like, oh, the stock market's not good. It is a fact. The stock market's gonna come back up, unless the world ends, But the stock market is going to come back up. And you can say, oh, the stock market is not good. There may be other things that are better than stocks. Or, real estate is really good. As Grant Cardone talks about a lot about, the stock market is bad. It was bad if people had stocks before this time, But in the long term, regardless, it can be good if you're having bonds. I'm not going to get too technical inside the stock market. I'm just focusing right now on this little point right here. But regardless of what you do, if you're ready to invest, that's when you invest. When people are retreating, you attack. When people are attacking too optimistic on good times, that's the time that you should be retrieving, and that's, I'm not saying about only investment, that's with your time. People right now, companies, they're retrieving. That's the time that you have to attack. Some companies, they may not have ammunition enough to be able to go on full-on attack, because you need ammunition for that. You need to have saved ammunition before that. But if you're one of those people who've gotten yourself ready, you've learned, you studied the marketplace all this time, you know what people tend to do in time like this, because it's so clear. You know what I'm saying. If you're one of the people who has invested your time in self-development, it's clear to see, to differentiate the greats from the average. You can see it everywhere on a time like this coronavirus that's going on. Now, what do you do? Let's get into that. I think I've cleared enough. I mean, if this wasn't enough for you to understand, take 10 times action. If you don't know what taking 10 times action means, that's a problem. You should have known before the crisis. Now it's not the time for you to be like, oh, I was average before and I want to be great. Now it's too late. That's now it can be too late. I mean, the stock market may continue to go down as of today, as I'm recording this podcast. If you purchase right now, inevitably it's gonna go up because it's gone down a lot. Investing your money, saying about in this perspective, investing your money, it will still pay you back, knowing how everything went down. The economy is gonna go back up. Now, for you to decide to be great, and let's say, okay, now I want to invest, or now I want to invest my time, and if you haven't been great before, and you're probably thinking, oh, but what do I do? Oh, I'm out of work. I'm not working. What am I gonna do with my time? I have all afternoon because let's say I'm not going to the office, or I'm not actually working. There's no work. That's when you should, be. I don't know if I have the answer for that, because if you've been doing your great every single day before this crisis, and this crisis come and you have we have less clients, this is affecting every business. But if you've been doing great before, you're gonna know what to do. I'm recording this podcast, but there's promotion to do. There's a marketing. Maybe you're gonna control how much money you put into the marketing side. We can prepare all your systems. You can actually literally invest your money into expanding before the clients come, because they're gonna come, and optimistic people, they know it's going to come. So this is a time to invest and not retrieve. And this is the reason the rich get richer after recession, and the poor get even more poor after recession. Or I would say better, average get more average. The great get greater. But I know for sure, didn't mean to do a podcast with negative connotation, but I think this is gonna be, it's gonna be positive for everyone when all this ends. Even people who hasn't been taking too much action it's gonna turn out better after this crisis. It's gonna go away. The greats, as I also say on this podcast, it's gonna be even better. It's gonna go away. We're gonna learn more how to deal with a virus, crisis, be more clean, be more prepared. This is what crisis brings to us. This is what, and the economy has been doing really well this past few months. Before this crisis, it's not like super awesome, but it's been going really, really well. And but there's always room to be even better. And what makes the economy grow is when people are working, is when people are producing. And this is what's going to happen after this pandemic goes away. People are going to work harder. The average and the great is going to work harder regardless. They're going to be more, okay, now I have opportunity to tackle. I'm going to take more advantage, work, produce more. What does this bring to the economy? Exponential growth, better than how it was before. Even when it comes to simple stuff, viruses, we're going to know how to tackle that better next year. Next year is going to come. I'm optimistic that this is not going to last longer, because if you think about it, other types of virus kills much more people, and the economy is affecting so much for a virus that's not that bad. It's for younger and older people. It's not taking it's just a type of generation. It's a generation X, but imagine if it was worse. Imagine if even the millennials, middle age, was taking a hit as consequence of this crisis. That would be even worse. So this is not that bad if you were to think about it. For comparing to how the economy is going down, how people are panicking, especially the media, who's bringing out, this is not supposed to play out this way, because this is really not bad. It's not that bad. It spreads easier than influenza. It spreads quicker. But it's not as bad. That's what I'm trying to say. More people is affected by it. But it's not as bad. It really is not. If you see the death rate, I don't have in front of me the numbers, but the numbers are extremely higher on the influenza side, on the yearly virus that goes around this time. There are more deaths, so it shouldn't be this bad. I think the reason it's bad is what the media made it to be, and yes, the fact, which is a fact, that this spreads more. It spreads worse, and it is worse for older and younger people. Thinking the optimistic side, we're all gonna come out of this. It's gonna be great. Focus on the positivity, because if you continue to be average during this time, it's just gonna be worse for you. It's just gonna be. You're only gonna think, oh, it's just gonna be worse. You're losing your hair for no reason. Regardless, this is gonna turn out. I'm not saying it's gonna turn out okay. I'm saying it's even better. It's gonna turn out better than how it was before. So look how awesome this is. And stay safe. Obviously, stay safe. Protect. Be prudent. And especially for older peoples, because it's for young millennials who's listening to this podcast. May not even affect you, but it will affect your parents or grandparents. So stay prudent. Retreat on not going out much. Listen to authorities. That's what you retreat on. But what you're not retreating is on yourself, on investing on yourself. You might retreat on some investment just to take the money from there, let's say on marketing that you're doing, but to put somewhere else because you're in the crisis. You might move things around if you don't have much money to play with as well. That's what I do. That's what I also do. I'm retreating on some parts, but on the others. But what you don't want to retrieve on is on your energy, on your retrieve. The worst type of retrievement is when you stay connected. Oh, what's going on? How many people are dying from this virus? Let me watch. And you're not producing, you're not doing things. And then when you finally get to sit down to do something, you play Netflix to watch, or you do some other things. I mean, that it's gonna be bad for you. That's what I can tell. And on your mind, it's always negative thoughts is gonna come up to your mind. If you stay positive on the other side, think of all the advantage you can take from it. That's why you want to stay optimistic, and that's why you don't want to stay average, especially in times like this. But you should have built your mindset before. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you have any questions, I cannot get too technical in the stock market. I know that overall everything's going to turn out better. I'm personally investing, but it's like, oh, what stock should I pick? It should be ready before, but you can still, if you have ammunition saved aside, make sure to use, when I say ammo, just so you know, I'm talking about money. If you had money that you're not depending on aside, that's the money you should use for it. Money that you're like, oh, it's not even, it's not that it's not even needed, but you can go without it, if you know what I mean. Because then it's gonna 5x after a few months. Hopefully after a few months, maybe 3 months, maybe a year, but regardless, it's gonna be alright. Thank you very much, guys. It's the Wings Mobile Detailing. This was the business podcast, and we are auto detailing. Just so you guys know, if you're also looking to invest in a business, got some surprise for you. So if you're looking into getting into franchising your own business, I'll tell you, also take advantage and buy a franchise if you have the money to do it now. This is the time, because I sell franchise for Wings Mobile Detailing, as you guys may know, and expense pretty quickly. You start growing employees, and if you take advantage of this time now, call me or access the website, and you can ask some questions to what we got during this crisis, because it is the time to invest, and you would benefit from franchising with us at this time. I'm not trying to sell anything, but maybe I am, whatever. franchise.wingsmobiledetailing.com, and we're on Instagram. My name is Andre Mezalira, or Wings Mobile Detailing. Thank you very much.